Maya stood at the airport gate, holding her small purple suitcase. Her heart was beating fast, but her eyes were full of excitement. This was her first international trip. She had dreamed of this moment for years. She looked around at the big airport, the flashing screens, and the long lines of people. Everyone was busy, some walking fast, some talking on phones, some hugging their loved ones goodbye. Maya took a deep breath. "I can do this," she whispered to herself. Maya was a kind girl. She always helped others. Her teachers loved her because she was smart and respectful. Her neighbors knew her as the girl who always smiled. But today, Maya felt a little nervous. She had never flown on a plane before. She checked her documents again. Passport, boarding pass, ID. Everything was in place. She was going to visit her cousin in London. Her cousin had invited her months ago. And now the day had finally come. As she walked toward the boarding gate, she saw the airplane waiting outside the glass window. It looked big and shiny. A soft voice came from the speaker. "Passengers for Flight 209 to London, please proceed to Gate 14. Maya joined the line. People were slowly moving forward, showing their documents and boarding the plane. She looked at the people around her, families, couples, old travelers. Everyone looked excited or relaxed. But Maya noticed something strange. A flight attendant near the gate was staring at her. The woman was tall, with perfect hair and a sharp uniform. Her name tag said Linda. Linda was checking passports with a smile, but when she looked at Maya, her smile disappeared. Maya tried to ignore it. "Maybe I'm just nervous," she thought. When it was her turn, Maya stepped forward and smiled. "Good morning," she said softly, handing over her passport and boarding pass. Linda took them without replying. She looked at the passport for a long time. Too long. Her eyes narrowed. Then, without a word, she turned around and walked away, taking Maya's passport with her. Maya blinked in confusion. She waited. 1 minute passed, then 2. People behind her started whispering. Someone asked, "Is there a problem?" Maya felt her hands shaking. She didn't know what to do. Why did she take my passport? Why didn't she say anything? Her heart started beating faster. A man behind the desk asked, "Next, please." Another passenger moved ahead. Maya stepped aside, still waiting. She looked around, hoping to see Linda return, but she was gone. Minutes passed. Maya clutched her suitcase tightly. She was scared now. No one was talking to her. No one was telling her what was happening. She walked to a nearby assistant and asked softly, "Excuse me." The flight attendant took my passport. She didn't come back. The assistant frowned. "Which flight?" "Flight 209. She just walked away." The assistant nodded and walked off quickly. Maya stood alone near the gate. She could see families boarding, children laughing, people finding their seats, but she was stuck here, waiting, confused. She remembered her mother's words that morning. "Stay strong, Maya. You're smart. You can handle anything." But right now, Maya didn't feel strong. Suddenly, she saw Linda returning. Her face was blank. No expression. In her hand, she was holding Maya's passport. But something was wrong. The passport looked damaged, torn, crushed. Maya felt a cold wave in her chest. Linda came closer but didn't say anything. "Tell you what happened to my passport?" Maya asked, her voice shaking. Linda stared at her. "This passport is fake." Maya's eyes widened. "What?" "No, it's real. I got it from the government office. Please, check again." Linda didn't listen. She simply shook her head. "Step aside. You can't board this flight." Tears filled Maya's eyes. "Please, this is my first trip." But Linda had already turned away. People were staring now. Some were whispering. No one helped. No one stood up for Maya. She felt like the ground under her feet was disappearing. She stepped back slowly, holding the damaged passport in her hand. her fingers shaking. Far behind in the waiting area, a man with gray hair and kind eyes was watching. He saw everything. He didn't look away. His face was calm, but his eyes were burning with quiet anger. He took out a small notebook from his bag and started writing. Maya stood near the gate, holding her torn passport. Her hands were cold. Her heart felt heavy, like someone had put a stone inside it. She looked down at the document. The cover was scratched, the pages bent. It looked nothing like the clean passport she had received 2 weeks ago. She remembered how proud she felt when she got it. Her mother even took a picture of her holding it. And now, this. This passport is fake, Linda had said. Those words echoed in Maya's mind again and again. But it wasn't fake. It was real. She had waited 3 months to get it. She had gone to the passport office, filled all the forms, taken her photo. Everything was real. So why was this happening? Maya stood alone while the last passengers boarded the plane. She watched as the gate door closed with a quiet beep. The plane would leave soon, and she was not on it. A nearby staff member walked over to Maya. He was a young man in uniform, holding a tablet. "Ma'am, do you have any questions?" he asked. Maya tried to stay calm. "The flight attendant took my passport. She said it was fake, but it's not. I don't know what's going on. Can I speak to someone?" The man looked confused. "Who took it?" Her name tag said Linda. He blinked. "Linda, are you sure?" Maya nodded. "Yes." The man nodded slowly, then tapped something on his tablet. "I'll report it. Please wait in the seating area. Someone will come talk to you." Then he walked away. Maya sat on a metal bench, clutching the broken passport in her lap. Her eyes were red from holding back tears. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her cousin. "Did you board? Can't wait to see you." Maya didn't reply. She couldn't. She just locked the phone and stared at the floor. Time moved slowly. People around her laughed, talked, walked by. For Maya, the world felt frozen. Then she noticed someone standing a few steps away. It was the old man with the kind eyes. He had short gray hair, glasses, and a calm face. He wore a brown jacket and carried a leather bag. He walked over to her and sat on the bench. "May I sit?" he asked gently. Maya nodded. "I saw what happened," he said softly. "That woman treated you unfairly." Maya didn't say anything. She just wiped a tear from her cheek. "My name is Mr. Daniels," the man continued. "I used to be a lawyer. Now I help people when I can." Maya looked up. Why would she do this? "I didn't do anything wrong." Mr. Daniels sighed. "Some people see skin before they see a heart." Maya stared at him, not understanding. "Prejudice," he explained. "It's a quiet kind of hate, and it still lives in places like this." Maya felt a lump in her throat. "But she works for an airline. She can't just do that." "She shouldn't," Mr. Daniels said. "But sometimes they think no one will notice, or no one will speak." He opened his bag and pulled out a small notepad. "Would you mind telling me what happened?" "Everything. Step by step." Maya nodded slowly and began to talk. Her voice was soft at first, but as she spoke, she grew stronger. She told him about Linda's strange looks, how she took the passport, how she didn't speak, and how she came back with it torn. Mr. Daniels wrote everything down. "Did anyone else see it?" he asked. "I think the people behind me saw, but they didn't say anything." "That's okay," he said. "We'll find proof another way." "Why are you helping me?" Maya asked. Mr. Daniels smiled gently. "Because you deserve help, and because too many people stay quiet." Meanwhile, on the plane, Linda walked down the aisle, smiling at passengers as if nothing had happened. But her smile didn't reach her eyes. She opened a small cabinet at the back of the plane and took out her phone. She sent a message. "Handled. Problem removed. Boarding clear." No one saw the message. No one heard the lies. But back at the airport, someone had noticed. One of the other passengers in the boarding line, a woman in a blue jacket, had been recording the scene with her phone. She hadn't meant to at first, but when she saw how Linda treated Maya, something didn't feel right. She had recorded quietly, from the side. Now, sitting in the waiting area, she watched the video again. She saw Maya smiling. She saw Linda frown. She saw Linda walk away with the passport. She saw everything. And she knew something was wrong. She looked around and saw Maya sitting with an old man. She walked over slowly, phone in hand. "Excuse me," she said softly. "Were you the girl from the gate?" Maya looked up. I recorded what happened," the woman said. "If you need it, I can send it to you." Mr. Daniels smiled. "Yes, we need it very much." Maya felt a tiny spark of hope rise in her chest. Maybe this fight wasn't over yet. Maybe she wasn't alone. Maya sat at the small airport cafe, her fingers still gently holding the broken passport. Across from her, Mr. Daniels was drinking a cup of black coffee, his notepad open on the table. The woman who recorded the video had just left after sending the footage to him. For the first time that day, Maya felt something different inside her. Not fear, not confusion, but fire. Mr. Daniels tapped on his phone, watching the video again. He didn't blink. Every second mattered. Every expression, every move, every word, or the lack of it, was proof. She didn't even say a single word when she took it. Maya said, her voice a little stronger now. "I know," Mr. Daniels replied. "That silence, it's louder than you think. It tells a story." He looked up at her and smiled. "Maya, you've already shown great courage. Now we make sure no one else suffers like you did." "But how?" Maya asked, unsure. "She works for a big airline. They won't listen to someone like me." "That's why you have me," he said simply. "I may be old, but I still know how to shake the system." Mr. Daniels made a few phone calls, one to a friend who worked in airport security, another to a contact in media. Each call was short, direct, and full of purpose. He also filed a formal complaint with the airline's customer service. It wouldn't do much, not yet, but it was a start. Meanwhile, Maya stared at her phone. Her cousin had called 5 times. She finally sent a text. "Didn't board. Something happened. I'll explain later." She didn't want to explain everything right now. It was too heavy, too unfair, but deep inside, she knew this moment would not break her. It would build her. A few hours passed. Mr. Daniels took Maya to a quiet lawyer's office nearby. The receptionist greeted him like an old friend. Inside a small meeting room, they watched the video on a big screen. Then they added photos of the damaged passport. Then Maya's statement. Then a few notes from another witness who had messaged the airline anonymously. Step by step, they were building something stronger than a complaint. They were building a case. Across the city, the airline's internal staff began receiving emails. 2 people had already forwarded Maya's story from the customer service team. A manager in human resources read it and paused. "Linda again," she whispered. This wasn't the first time Linda had been named in a complaint. She had been warned before, but she was always clever, always found a way to twist the story. She had friends in high places. But this time, there was a video. Back at the office, Maya leaned back in her chair, tired but no longer broken. Mr. Daniels noticed. "You know," he said gently, "when I first saw you at the gate, I saw fear in your eyes. But now, I see fire." Maya smiled weakly. "I don't want anyone else to feel this way." "You won't let them," he replied. That evening, Mr. Daniels posted a short video online. He kept it simple. No names, no hate, just truth. A kind, smart young girl was humiliated at an airport. Her passport was taken and returned damaged. She was told she couldn't fly. She was told her passport was fake. It wasn't. It was real. And this was not the first time it had happened. The video ended with Maya's voice. "I just want to be treated like a person, with respect." In less than 1 hour, the video had 2,000 views. By midnight, it had over 50,000. People began commenting, sharing, reacting. "I believe her. This happened to my cousin too. How is this still happening in 2025? This girl is so brave. Shaming on that airline." The next morning, Maya woke up in a small hotel room Mr. Daniels had booked for her. She picked up her phone. Her heart skipped a beat. Trending #2 on social media, #JusticeForMaya. Her story was everywhere. At the airport office, Linda entered for her shift. Her smile faded when she saw her manager waiting by the door. "We need to talk," the manager said. "What is it?" Linda asked, pretending to be calm. The manager held up a tablet. The video was playing. Linda's face turned pale. Back at the hotel, Maya and Mr. Daniels received a call from a news channel. "We want to tell her story," the woman said. "The whole country needs to hear this." Maya looked at Mr. Daniels. He nodded. "Are you ready?" he asked her. Maya took a deep breath. "Yes," she said. "I am." The sun had just started to rise when Maya walked into the TV studio. She wore a simple white top, her hair tied neatly, and a little hope in her eyes. Mr. Daniels walked beside her, calm and proud. The producer welcomed them both with warm smiles. "You're very brave," she said to Maya. "People want to hear your voice." Maya gave a small nod. She still felt nervous, but this time she had something stronger than fear: purpose. The show was live. Cameras rolled. Lights flashed. The host smiled kindly and began. "Today, we share the story of a young girl who was stopped from flying simply because of the way she looked." Maya spoke slowly, clearly, truthfully. She told the world everything. How she had saved for months. How it was her first trip. How she was treated like a criminal, for no reason. And how one woman with a uniform and a cold face had almost crushed her dream. By afternoon, the video from the interview had gone viral. News websites picked it up. People started tagging the airline. Hashtags exploded. #JusticeForMaya. #EndAirportRacism. #FlyWithRespect. The airline couldn't stay silent anymore. That evening, they posted an official message on their page. "We are deeply sorry for what happened to Miss Maya. We are investigating the matter and promise action will be taken." But it was too late for just words. The world wanted truth. Meanwhile, Linda sat alone in a quiet office at the airport. Her badge had been taken. Her phone was buzzing nonstop. She didn't smile now. Her manager had given her a letter, suspended until further notice. Linda stared at the wall. Her eyes were empty. But something inside her was boiling. "How dare they make me the villain?" she thought. She looked through her messages. One message came again and again from an unknown number. "Be quiet. We'll handle it." Who was sending this? And what were they trying to hide? At the same time, Mr. Daniels received a message from one of his old contacts in airport security, a man named Jordan. "Call me," it said. Later that night, they met in a small cafe. Jordan looked serious. "I checked the security footage from Gate 14, he said. Mr. Daniels leaned in. "And there's more than just Maya's case. Linda has done this before, at least 3 times. Daniels froze. "You're sure?" Jordan nodded. "The footage doesn't lie. She always chooses someone young, or alone, or with dark skin. She takes the passport, walks away, and comes back saying it's fake. And every time, the person is pulled from the flight." "But why?" Mr. Daniels asked. Jordan looked around, then whispered, "I think she's part of a group." Daniels raised his eyebrows. "What kind of group?" Jordan hesitated, then said, "A few staff members, maybe more. They target certain passengers to delay them. Sometimes for money, sometimes just power. It's ugly. Back at the hotel, Maya sat on the bed, watching comments flood her phone. One caught her eye. "Same thing happened to me last year. Same airline. Same gate. I thought I was alone." Then another. "Linda did this to my brother. They said his passport was fake, but it was brand new. He missed his interview in Canada." Maya gasped. Mr. Daniels returned and sat beside her. "There's something you need to see," he said. He opened his laptop and showed her the footage Jordan had shared. She watched in silence. Another boy, another passport, same cold treatment, same gate, same Linda. Tears welled in Maya's eyes. "I wasn't the first," she whispered. "No," Daniels said, "but you can be the last." The next morning, Daniels contacted a lawyer friend who worked in human rights. They began preparing a legal case, not just against Linda, but against the airline, the supervisors who ignored complaints, and the system that allowed it. More victims came forward. People shared their stories, their pain, their shame. But Maya, she stood tall. She had once been silent. Now she was a voice for many. Inside the airline headquarters, the pressure was growing. Executives were panicking. "What do we do?" one asked. Another replied, "We'll offer her free tickets, maybe a public apology." But the head of legal shook her head. She doesn't want gifts. She wants change. And outside the building, people had gathered with signs. "We fly equal. No to DICYIMINATEON. Justice for all." The truth was out now. There was no going back. That night, Maya and Mr. Daniels sat by the window, watching the city lights. "You changed everything," Daniels said. Maya smiled, a little tired but proud. "I just told the truth," she said. The world listened. He nodded. "And tomorrow, we keep going. There's still more to reveal." She looked at him, curious. "Like what?" Daniels opened his notebook and tapped a page. "There's someone higher than Linda. Someone who's been protecting her. Someone we're going to find next." Maya sat up straight. Her eyes burned with quiet fire again. The air in the city had changed. Maya's name was now everywhere, on news channels, in newspapers, on social media. People were talking, sharing, standing with her. But Maya knew this wasn't over yet. She hadn't just been a victim of one person's cruelty. Something bigger was hiding in the shadows. And now, it was time to bring it into the light. Mr. Daniels sat across from Maya in the hotel room, flipping through his notes. "There's someone else," he said quietly. "Someone who gave Linda the power to do what she did." Maya frowned. "Her boss." "Maybe," Daniels replied. "But it could be even higher. Someone in the airline's leadership. Someone who keeps her safe, no matter how many complaints she gets." He pulled out a printed email. "This was leaked to us," he said. Maya took the paper and read it. Her hands trembled slightly. "Keep Gate 14 clean. You know who we don't want flying. Handle it quietly. Use Linda if needed. No names. No direct order. But enough to know something dark was happening." Daniel's old friend Jordan, the airport security officer, sent them more footage. One clip showed Linda speaking to a man in a gray suit near the staff room. They weren't just talking. They were whispering, looking around, hiding something. "That man," Jordan said over the phone, "is Derek Vance, regional manager. Very powerful. He's been here for 15 years. Maya stared at the screen. "He looks normal," she said softly. "That's the danger," Daniels replied. "The worst ones always do." They began digging. Daniels contacted a journalist he trusted, a woman named Clara, who worked for a respected newspaper. Clara met them at a quiet cafe. She had already heard about Maya's story, and she believed in exposing the truth. "This might take time," Clara warned. "But if we can prove that Vance gave those orders, the whole company could be shaken." "We don't want revenge," Maya said calmly. "We want change." Clara smiled. Then let's get to work. For the next few days, Clara investigated the airline. She discovered that Derek Vance had ignored dozens of past complaints against Linda and 2 other employees. Some passengers had even tried to sue, but their cases disappeared quickly. Some were paid off. Some were silenced. One former employee finally agreed to talk. His name was Rehan, and he had worked in customer service. "I saw them," Rehan said. "They used code words. Things like clean gate or extra screen. It always meant the same thing: delay certain passengers. The darker your skin, the more extra checks they made up." Maya felt cold as she listened. This wasn't just about her. This was a pattern, a plan, and Derek Vance was behind it all. Clara published her report 1 week later. Front page headline: Hidden Discrimination. The dark truth behind airline security. It included interviews, emails, footage, and past complaints. Maya's story was the center, but it was no longer just her story. It was a pattern of cruelty hidden behind smiling faces and airline uniforms. The public exploded with anger. The airline's phone lines crashed from the number of calls. People demanded action. That same day, Maya received an official letter. It was from the Department of Civil Rights. They were opening a full investigation. Meanwhile, inside the tall glass building of the airline's headquarters, Derek Vance stood by his window, staring out at the city. He held Clara's newspaper in his hands. His face was calm, but his mind was racing. He called someone. His voice was low. "She's getting too far. We need to end this." But this time, the person on the other end didn't agree. "No more cover-ups," the voice said. "You're on your own." That evening, Maya and Mr. Daniels were walking back to the hotel after dinner. Suddenly, a black car pulled up beside them. The windows were tinted. The door opened. A man stepped out. It was Derek Vance. He wore a sharp suit, but his eyes were tired. "I want to talk," he said. Mr. Daniels stepped in front of Maya. "She's not interested in more lies." Vance raised his hand. "Please, just 1 minute. You don't know everything." Maya looked at him carefully, then nodded. Vance's jaw tightened. "I didn't start this. The system was already in place. I just kept it running." "Why?" Maya asked. "Because it made everything smooth, quiet, no delays, no problem passengers. I didn't think it would ever come to this." Maya's voice was sharp now. "You ruined lives, not just mine." "I'm sorry," Vance whispered. "But saying sorry won't fix it." Daniel stepped forward. "Then help us fix it. Give us the rest. Names, emails, everyone involved." Vance looked at the ground. Then slowly, he nodded. That night, Maya sat at her window, watching the stars. She thought about the girl she used to be, excited to fly, dreaming of her first trip, and the girl she had become, strong, loud, and fearless. "Everything happens for a reason," her mom used to say. Maybe this was her reason: to speak, to fight, to make sure no one else is silenced at a gate ever again. Maya stood in front of the courtroom, her hands shaking slightly. Reporters, cameras, and curious eyes surrounded her. Microphones pointed toward her like arrows. But this time, she wasn't scared. Mr. Daniels stood beside her. Clara, the journalist, was just behind. A group of supporters held signs on the street. "Maya's voice matters. No more silent gates. We fly equal." It had been 1 month since Maya's story went public. In that time, everything had changed. After Derek Vance's secret meeting with Maya and Mr. Daniels, he agreed to share files and emails from inside the airline. He gave them names, 3 more staff members who were part of the plan. He showed how complaints were deleted. He showed who approved payments to silence victims. And he showed the most shocking document of all: an internal memo from 5 years ago. Minimize disruption. Focus extra checks on risk passengers, young, solo travelers, and minorities. No one had ever seen it before. But now, the world had proof. The Department of Civil Rights opened an official investigation. A top lawyer offered to represent Maya for free. And the airline. They tried to offer her money. They tried to offer free flights. They even offered her a job. Maya said no to all of it. "I don't want gifts," she said in an interview. "I want justice." In court, the airline tried to stay calm. Their lawyers said the memo was old. They said it didn't reflect current values. They said Maya's case was an unfortunate misunderstanding. But the truth was too strong, too clear, too loud. The video, the emails, the voices of dozens of passengers who came forward, and Maya, standing firm with her story. One by one, the lies began to fall apart. During the hearing, the judge turned to Maya and asked, "Why did you decide to fight?" Maya looked up, her voice calm. "Because I was told to stay silent. And silence is what keeps bad things alive. I wanted to speak so others wouldn't suffer like I did." The judge nodded. The courtroom was silent. Even the airline's lawyers lowered their eyes. Outside the courtroom, protests grew. Students, families, travelers, all demanding change. Airline stock dropped. Social media campaigns spread. Hashtag change the system. Hashtag justice take a flight. People from other countries started sharing similar stories. Maya had become a global symbol of quiet strength, and she never once raised her voice in anger. At home, Maya's mother watched the news with tears in her eyes. "She's no longer my little girl," she whispered. "She's a fighter now." After 3 long days, the judge gave the verdict. The court finds the airline responsible for discrimination, mishandling complaints, and emotional damage caused to the plaintiff, Maya. The company is ordered to pay damages, issue a public apology, and immediately change its training and passenger screening system. The courtroom burst into soft gasps. Maya didn't smile. She just closed her eyes and breathed. Not in celebration, but in relief. The CEO of the airline came on live TV the next day. His face was serious. No smile. No excuses. "We failed," he said. "We failed to protect our passengers. And we failed Maya. We will rebuild our system from the ground up." It was the first time the airline had ever admitted guilt. And it happened because one girl stood up when she was told to sit down. After the case, Maya was invited to speak at a global conference on travel rights. She stood on a large stage in front of hundreds of people, leaders, activists, and airline executives. She wore a simple blue dress. No makeup, no flash, just her truth. "I didn't want to be famous," she said. "I wanted to fly." The audience clapped softly. "I don't hate the woman who hurt me. I just want people to think before they act. Because every choice, every moment, can change someone's life forever." People stood. They clapped. Some wiped away tears. And somewhere in the crowd, a young girl whispered to her mother, "She's like me." Later that night, back in her hotel room, Maya sat on the edge of her bed with Mr. Daniels beside her. "You did it," he said. Maya looked down at her hands. "It doesn't feel like winning. It just feels right." "That's what real justice feels like," Daniels replied. A moment of silence passed. Then Maya looked out the window at the city lights. "I think I'm ready," she said. "For what?" Daniels asked. Maya turned back with a smile. "To fly again." 1 year later, Maya stood at the airport again. Same entrance, same luggage in her hand, same heartbeat. But this time, everything felt different. She wasn't the quiet, nervous girl anymore. She was Maya, the girl who changed everything. The airline had changed too. Posters on the wall now showed new words. "Every passenger matters. Respect at every gate. We fly equal." The staff wore new badges, certified in anti-bias training. Maya read the signs and smiled gently. These weren't just posters. They were proof that her voice had made a difference. This flight was special. It wasn't just another trip. It was the same flight she had tried to board 1 year ago. Flight 270 to Paris. The flight she never got to take. This time, Maya had been personally invited by the airline's new CEO, who had replaced the old one after the court case. He had written her a letter. "We know we can't erase the past, but we can build a better future with you on board. Your courage is why we're changing. Let us show you the flight you always deserved." Maya moved through security. The officers smiled and greeted her kindly. She walked to gate 14. The same gate where everything had gone wrong. Her heart beat faster, but instead of fear, she felt strength. This time, everyone smiled at her. A new flight attendant approached. Her name tag read Amira. "Hello, Miss Maya," she said kindly. "We've been expecting you." Maya blinked. "You know me?" Amira nodded. "Everyone knows you. You gave people like me a voice." Maya felt her eyes sting with emotion, but she kept smiling. She boarded the plane and found her seat by the window. Seat 22A. Her favorite spot. The sun was rising, painting the sky in soft pink and gold. A perfect beginning. A few moments later, a man in a suit stepped beside her. It was the new CEO. "Miss Maya," he said gently, "I just wanted to thank you again." Maya stood to shake his hand. "I didn't expect all this," she said. "You didn't ask for it," he replied, "but you earned it." He handed her a small envelope. Inside was a golden card. It read, "Maya Williams, lifetime honorary passenger, for your courage, truth, and impact." Maya held the card to her heart. "Thank you," she whispered. As the plane took off, Maya looked out the window. She thought about everything. The day her passport was taken. The night she cried alone in the airport. The courtroom. The crowds. The protests. And the message she had given the world. We all deserve respect. Hours passed. The plane landed in Paris. As she stepped off the flight, reporters and cameras waited, but Maya didn't stop for interviews. She walked straight outside, took a deep breath, and smiled. This was the moment she had dreamed of. And now, it was real. A few days later, Maya visited a quiet school in a small town near Paris. She had been invited to speak to a group of young girls. Some were immigrants, some had faced racism. All had dreams. Maya stood in front of them, holding only a picture of her passport. "I was told this wasn't real," she said, "that I didn't belong. But I proved them wrong, not with hate, not with anger, but with truth." The girls listened closely. A few of them nodded. A few cried. "You don't need power to change the world," she said. "You just need to believe that your story matters." Back home, Maya started a new project, a small foundation called Gate 14. Its mission was simple: help young travelers know their rights, fight airport discrimination, train staff across the world, make travel safe and fair for everyone. She wasn't a lawyer. She wasn't a celebrity. She was just Maya. But she had a voice. And now, the world was listening. Months later, in a quiet moment alone, Maya looked through her old notebook. The one where she had written her travel bucket list. There was a check mark next to Paris, crossed last year. And now, next to it, she wrote, Paris, finally flown. Then she added something new. Speak in every country that needs change. Be the voice for those who can't speak yet. Never forget where it all began. She smiled, closed the book, and whispered to herself, I didn't just take a flight. I took a stand.